Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of my healing journey. My name is Smangele Sibisi and recapping from the previous episode, we spoke about Smangele as a teenager and how I tried suppressing my trauma and how anger became part of my life at that stage. And yeah, we shared a lot around that age, and I think it was at the point where I was filtering things. So on this episode, we are going to carry on with how Sma felt when she entered her 20s and how I tackled my first job and also still trying to suppress the emotions, trying to suppress the trauma, and still carrying on hating my mom. So yeah, guys.
Thank you, Smart. And before we jump into it, can I challenge you on something? Which I hope is going to add to our conversation today.
Okay.
And I guess the challenge which I want to ask is, from the last conversation we had to where you are today, and you highlighted that anger really became a part of who you were at that time. What has happened to you in just the last two conversations we've had, identifying anger, and when I asked you that question last week and you were not able to really unpack. So sitting here today, what has happened to Usma since our last conversation to now?
So, Sma is really in a different space compared to the first or before the first conversations we had, before the first episode. Sma is in a different space. Sma is now understanding things in a different perspective. Sma is no longer classifying things with one angle. She now sees things in a different aspect of life. And something really interesting happened on Saturday evening. I was listening to Sarah Jakes, and the topic was the breaking point.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I started these conversations was because I was tired of pain after losing my mom.
Yeah.
I said, God, please take this pain away because I can't deal with this. I had, prior to losing my mom, I closed both of my salons.
Yeah.
And then tried to open a small salon because I had retrenched everywhere.
Yeah.
Tried to open a small salon and it was just not coming. And I think also because Sma was used to the previous lifestyle. I had 2 salons, it was happening, it was busy, I was doing what I loved doing. Now moving into a smaller space, now Sma has been suppressed into a smaller space now and has to understand that I can't get other things that I want. It's cutting this for me.
Yeah.
And I was just so confused with what's happening. I refuse to understand, or I refuse to accept that this is the new lifestyle that we're going to live.
Yeah.
And then I think 3 months after that, I took back my car because I couldn't pay the car anymore. That also crippled me because now I was used to being flexible. And then it was December. On the 29th, then I lost my mom. January, I buried my mom. March, I broke up with my husband. Sma at that time was tarnished. Sma was, Sma survived on alcohol during that period of time.
Okay.
Sma saw things differently. Sma was like, there's nothing positive that's going to come out of Sma from here. And I refused to be positive. I was like, nope. I remember it was December, up my t-shirt. I remember December, I had 2 breakdowns actually in December. Beginning of December, we were driving with my then husband and we had fought about things because me and him were from different traumas in our lives that we've went through. And Sma, there's times where I connect spiritually. and it just takes over. And when it takes over, I want the next person to understand it. I'm going to start praying intensively. I'm going to start talking positively during this phase of my life because it happens. And when it happened, my husband wasn't in that level, and he was just someone different, you know. And I think also from his side of trauma, he didn't understand what's in me now when my spirituality takes over. Kibanchi.
Yeah.
And I had a breakdown, and then I started telling him how I feel the way he treats me. I started telling him how I feel about the way he looks at things, you know, and I started telling him I'm not liking the feeling you treat her this way, of which I know how I'm supposed to be treated. And the second meltdown was when I wanted to close down the salon. The small one that we had opened, I wanted to close that one because I felt like it is dragging my soul. It is just too heavy for me. And I cried in front of my stylist. I cried so much that they started crying as well. And they were like, you're not closing. See, Zobala, until Jesus comes, you're not closing. And now looking back to the trauma, the pain, and everything that happened with 2020 and the beginning of 2021, Sma is at a different space now. The conversations are healing parts that I didn't think they needed healing. Because sometimes we look at anger and then we identify it, it's okay, it's trauma, like isugela from sasamngani, this is what happened. But we don't realize that the trauma also hurts other parts of your life. That when you start healing, you go back and you realize I also needed healing at how I approach people. I also needed healing at how I led people. I also needed healing at how I took care of myself. Because trust me right now, no one can mess up with my self-time. No, you don't interrupt my me time. And it's something before I never had. Because I thought, what is me time when you have to take care of people and take care of business and take care of the family? But now, I can't compromise on my happiness and my peace. Because is when everything becomes too overwhelming, it just sends me to an episode of anxiety. And I hate it when I'm there, because to bring myself down, it is a mission. To come back to Smangele, and it is a mission. So, to answer your question, Sma is in a different space now. Earlier on, I told you, I even sent my ex-husband a text to say that I am praying for him. Because I feel like now, I look at things in a positive way. It's okay, yes, we met purposely. We broke up because of certain things. But we can't be angry at each other. And also for you to move on, I believe for you to move on to other things from chapters that you have closed, or to move on to the next chapter, you need to close the chapter properly. And be satisfied with that you are closing it and you have done all you can to fix that chapter. So now it's coming to an end. So I sent him a text. I said, I am praying for you. I am praying for whatever that's within you. And I'm praying for everything that's around you. Now, another person would think, why? But I felt like I needed to do it. I felt like God on Saturday evening spoke to me and said, Sma, I am going to bless you with things that you want in your life, but are you ready to receive? And I realized, sometimes with the negativity that we keep saying, that the words that we keep uttering to people, how we behave negatively. Because God feels like you're not ready to receive. So, yes, I'm at a different space right now. Compared to the first episode, I am happy, I'm free. I feel like I need to speak because I feel totally different. Totally.
And I think the part which I love the most is that even in our healing journeys, like you said, you think this is the thing. And as we move through this journey, and we intentionally, I think that's the word we need to hold on to, we are intentional about wanting to really heal. Then he starts to bring up other things, reveal other things. And I think we need to to really understand that this healing journey, as you said from episode 1, is not a straight line. And kuzoqhamuka ezinye izinto along the way where we thought these areas were fine. But like you said, our traumas affect every single aspect of our lives. And they will show themselves up as we move along. But I think it's with intention that we're able to do this journey. And I'm glad that in just 2 episodes,
I feel like, guys, in connect to me, because one of the things that when I pray, that it always come out. These ways, they always come out. Whether my prayer was I'm trying to for protection, but always, all the time, I find myself saying to God, please heal the wounds that I have. Heal the wounds that I have, because you don't know how much of healing you need until you are vulnerable and you're at the state where you're like, God, yes, I'm healing you know, and I find myself all the time saying, God, please repair my wounds.
Yeah.
That's all I pray for. Yeah. Repair my wounds. And I think God purposely right now is saying to me, for me to heal your wounds, you need to speak them out.
Okay.
Let it all out. Share the pain that you have. In that way, it's of police.
In sharing that we heal. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for Joba sehamba nawe in this journey. Just as a reminder also, you are still healing as you are healing. You're still healing as you're healing. But as we said last week, we were talking about, or the last episode, we were talking about you and your teenagers and the thing that you picked up along the way. So today, let's chat about you as you enter your 20s. So in the beginnings, I mean, when you enter our 20s, we're given this, low key, that 21st key. And all of a sudden, to go open the doors of life, go be an adult. But as we said in our first episode, we are just children in adult bodies, trying to figure this life thing out. So if you can take us through, I think up until the age of 25, Usma from 25, I mean, last week you said, and you bought your mom in Dao. So from that Sma, who's just starting working up until the age of 25, if you can just take us through what was happening to you at that point.
So, I finished school at age 19 and age 20, I think the first 3, 4, 5 months of 2011, Sma wasn't working. Sma was frustrated. Sma wanted to go study. But because the situation in Ikaya, my funds.
Yeah.
And I think I realized later, actually I have to go register at university if I want to. Because also there was this thing that happened at school. Principal had said, we register on our behalf.
Okay.
Because I think Sastole funds, the matric had a higher pass rate.
Okay.
Section so I think Sasa received my funds, and then the principal had said they'll take those funds and we'll register the matric. So I think at the back when I had to go to Kim, bank just go check to see who's in the By the time I woke up and said, okay, I'm going to go now do this, the faculties that I wanted to do were full already. And I was like, you know what, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Let's go back and see what we can do. Now, because I still had my talents, I'm like, maybe this is how God says, this is your field of work. When I'm and I used to do my cousin's hair. So this one time he went to the salon that he would go wash, twist, and then make him style my field. Bambu was would say, who does your hair? And then he mentioned, it's my sister and also currently against Usekaya. And then they said, no, we are running trainings. So 2 weeks training, and the salon was all new. And it was I think it was Branchie Jabustone, just before it was a franchise just before they bought it, the guys. So but see, it's a say in general, we're looking for stylists, and we can see every time we love your stars.
Yeah.
So what me is this is an X amount of money that we need from you for the training. That's a 2 weeks, and after we place with work. It was a 2 days training for me.
And excuse us.
They were like, you know what, come work. You are a fresh of breath air, we need you in our lives. And then I started working from there. And I remember 6 months into working, I was then appointed as an assistant manager, because Smangele was determined to make things work, you know. And I remember at that time, so money was still a lot.
So you're not living in Nokoko anymore?
I had moved out of home now because so the traveling for me I was like, Goko ngiyahamba, but Goko wasn't happy. Goko wasn't happy to a point where they refused to give me blankets. That's getting for that. They refused to give me blankets when I went and I asked. So Goko was like, well, it's a to move out. Do as you please, and then I know very well. There was blankets on top of Gogo's wardrobes. And then she said, no, we don't have blankets. So sisters had to sort herself out, of which I did. But the relationship was still tight. No Gogo, and each and every month end, I think I had made a promise to myself, once I leave home, I'm going to be the change in the house. I'm going to be the change in the house, because now, what sevens are mina, at the moment. Yeah, it was me only was working at the moment. Or no Gogo, but I had like a solid work, you know. So how come Simile? I remember towards the end of today's my grandmother's birthday. Yay! So in 2011, on this day, I surprised Gogo with a plasma TV, with a home system. In the
box.
So I wrapped those things. Because it's a big TV. Taylor speed. That was the first year of me working. I felt like I'm going to be the change at home.
Yeah.
You know. Speed and then when she opened, she was surprised. Till today, she still has. You see those papers that sits on the corner of the TV? She still has those papers. How many years later? 2011. On this day. 2011. She still has. So smart at that during that year, hey, everything was just happening. You know, because one, necessarily independent. 2, I'm living on my own, and yay, things are just happening.
Yeah.
But also smiling at the back of my mind, had the fear of just living my life.
Okay.
Because I think I was a late bloomer. And also mentioning Isakala conversations on the first episode, which Smile was an understanding child.
Yeah.
I think in Kulenai, I think also what trauma does to a person, it grows you faster than Umuntu.
Yeah.
So Osma at age 20, we said, I need to be responsible.
Yeah.
I need to responsible even though I was partying, but now party responsibly.
Yeah.
Of which I didn't understand why. But now everything responsible, you know. And 2011, 2012, I was appointed to be a manager for one of the branches. And Smile was just, it was, now on time, I still love my work, but Smile was at a point where I wanted to learn more about hair. And I was pushing myself. I was a dedicated hairstylist, you know. I think it was at that time also I had identified myself as a natural hairstylist.
Yeah.
And it was interviews after interviews, shoots. Now Smile now, so Smile. Yeah, you got Nandi. I think 2012 was my year. I think it was the same year I got arrested on my birthday. Yeah, 2012, because I was turning 21. I got arrested on my birthday because Minabang told him petit class. It was so my boss. What he did was it was me and then the other stylist. We were sharing a birth month, and then we were sharing our birth month with the salon. So he said, "I'm gonna just do a one party." You know, Utana was turning 21. She was turning 20. And Salon was turning 2, if not 1. And then Bayans are a huge party outside in the parking lots. And then it was at a time where you would be arrested for public drinking, even if you were not drunk, for having a drink. It was that year. Bang, mom, start to call me speech. I'm holding my glass. We're taking pictures. It's not quantum. And they came straight to me. Straight to me. You know, sometimes you think things happen to you because they are preventing other things.
Yeah.
They came straight to me. Bati upeten. I said, it is alcohol, but I haven't drunk. But they took me. Bang said, Ngahlala until midnight. And then the keeper. And funny enough, my boss was there since I think in the evening. He was there. He waited. He was like, "I'm the machine." And yeah, my 2021 was nice, man. It was happening. I think it was also at the point where Smangele, I felt like it was a phase where I just went partying, but responsibly.
Yeah.
Because the years after it had toned down.
Yeah.
My 21st was, yeah, it was happening. Still in the back of happening, that's when I discovered my younger brother.
Okay.
So there's 2 of us. I have a younger brother who's 27. I think he's 27 this year. 27 August. What had happened is on the first episode I did mention that my mom left him with his
Babaki.
Yes. So Babaki was arrested. And then wasala no auntie no koko.
Okay.
Ukoko was shown. I don't know what happened to auntie that he was then transported to Soweto from Ikages to Soweto. I don't know what was happening, but apparently what Nasega street kids.
Okay.
Now in his life we were not aware.
Oh.
Even though we were staying like in 2 locations that were closer to each other. But this has what had happened to him. And Mama and I kept saying, no, I'm Shia in the Bakibo Bakambabaki. So she assumed it was okay.
Yeah.
At some point he became homeless, and then Watatwa was foster care, and then he found a foster parent. And funny enough, Gang Sevens and Full. Now his foster home was at Scott Paula. Sihlukaniswa isikolo nje se-3 kuphela. And I remember I had went to visit my grandmother and we bumped into his father. He was released now. And we asked him, and then he said no. Was it cousin? No. Actually, the family that I had left him with, they passed away. What struggling. So what happened is that what Mabamtola, the foster care, bazijek bazomsayinisa ukuthi sizomthatha simfake into a foster home.
Yeah.
Once you are out, you're gonna come and sign him off.
Yeah.
And then take him. But you will have to start working for you to sign him off.
Yeah.
So this is how it happened. Mina saying a year in jail, I haven't started working. That's why you're going to sign out.
Yeah.
But now we were confused with, you know where we stay. Why didn't you come to us and tell us, this is the situation with my brother? So I was like, no, just give me the address where he is and I'll just go and talk to us because Menga Sebenza and I'm his sister. And he gave me the address. I went the first time. When I went the first time, this lady was so rude to me. He said to me, we don't know any other family members of this child.
Yeah.
So therefore, we can't say anything to you. And I had to prove, but I took my ID, I called my grandmother, I called the father to speak to the lady I'm released because I'm the sister. And eventually the lady said, okay, let's have the second meetup. Come back next time because I gave command.
Yeah.
So that you can meet up with him, my brother. So I went again. The second time on Solekona, and then we spoke. And then she then mentioned that, okay, we're going to sign him off to you as the sister. Yeah, okay. And we spoke to the father. And that's how I got to my brother.
Yeah.
Samtata, but now because his father had his home, no, it's fine, and that's how he then went to stay with his father. But I think it was at a time where he was just rebellious, and yeah, that's what happened at 21.
I think one thing which you mentioned, which I think is something we need to really be aware of, is you make mention of how now you're in a position where you're living in your own space, and it's an opportunity for you to really be you at the end of the day. But it just felt like there were just things you were thinking all the time. Yes, we are crew, but responsibly in a package and not necessarily being a 21-year-old. I told me key and you mentioned how you were in Ghana was always understanding when you were 7, 8 years old when I asked you.
Yes.
And you were just the kid who just understood. Then you started working also around the age of 10. And I think the one thing that we need to understand is that trauma steals. And it stole your childhood, it stole your teenagehood, and it stole your early 20s. And it automatically fast tracks you to be an adult at the end of the day. And we don't realize that. We don't realize, and I think sometimes then you get umuntu omdala who really is an adult now, but all of a sudden we are reversa. And claiming back that which was stolen from them. And you get just instances like that. Or you just become an adult and you never stop becoming an adult. I mean, this thing of Jaba Oshobutana, you wait to go fetch your brother, that is an adult move. Where ubaba wakhe wayekhona, ugogo futhi wayekhona. Ubaba wakhe could have spoken to ugogo at any point to say, ngicela nimthathe while ngisayiqondisa mina. But all of a sudden, here's you, 21, taking up that position. And I think those are the things that we don't realize about trauma. The small things of just how trauma changes the way we physically are, how trauma also then changes our outlook in life, where we all of a sudden let go of the phases we're meant to be in. I'm meant to be a child. As a 7, 8-year-old, outside the whole day, get it, so we said doubling busy, but you're an understanding child. You are now working to put bread on the table at home, and you're buying umawako a house, trying to get her out of the situation as epidial into at least a safe space. And that is something heavy for a 21-year-old. But I also want to ask, in that space, where is Uma?
In that space, at that moment, Ma is around. But like I said on the previous episode, I had filtered out things that I wanted to concentrate on. And she was one of those things that I wanted to filter out, even though she became part of my life. Even though I had said, I'm going to carry her through, but I'm not going to be stressed about her. And I think at that time, my sister would call women's easy.